Here we are for another update on Archmage Rises, the greatest role-playing game. No, I'm going to have to start that again. Scratch that. Here we are for the next update on Archmage Rises, and this is the role-playing game where there's more to do than just combat grinding. Yay! There's tons to do in this game, and that's why it's a new kind of role-playing game where there's so much to do. So today we are continuing in our design course of showing you the various screens of Archmage Rises and how it works. And today we are finishing off by showing you the spell customization screen, so you can see how you can get your spells and customize and make them different every time that you play the game, because it's a roguelike, a real roguelike, not a fake roguelike. So yeah, customization of your spell is real important. So today's feature is entirely Nick's fault. And so with that, we're going to dive into the feature. Okay. Ooh. If I click, I get a hand.
Nice.
Look at that. I got a big giant blue hand.
That's sweet.
I don't even know what it's for. It's just a big blue hand.
Clobber stuff.
Yeah.
It's clobbering time.
What could you possibly need a giant blue hand for? A giant blue... That makes total sense. But a giant blue hand... How is that helping the presentation at all?
I don't know. Maybe you can move things around in some modes. I don't know. It is pretty bad looking blue hand too.
Yeah. Look, now I'm making it dirty. That's terrible. That's weird. I've never actually clicked that button before, but there it is. Okay. Okay, so this is the spell screen, or the magic screen, and we got a list of spells over on this side. Do not look over at the spells on this side, because they may not actually be there when we're done making the screen. So this is the way that we have the spells, and we're going to sort them by something. Right now I'm showing it by alphabetical. But anyways, you pick your spell, and the spell has this nice fancy little icon that Roger's going to make for us. Isn't that great? You know, every time we do something in this game and we have some text, like say fireball, then Roger always pipes up. He's like, hey, I can make an icon for that. And it's like his bills just keep going up. I don't know how that happens. You know, this was supposed to be like a text-heavy game, and now we got icons all over the place. Look at these icons. We got icons all over the place. It's crazy.
Kind of looks sweet, though.
Yeah, it does. I know. I can't deny that. So, I guess it's a good thing we have Roger on the project. If it was just Nick and I, I'd be programmer art all day long. It's like, quick, we need an icon. Nick's like, I'm firing up paint right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. So, so we got a sweet icon showing you what it is, and it's going to be the same icon that's on the cast bar over here, obviously. And then basically the information that is shown in here is the cast box information. So if you can just imagine this in a big rectangle, then look, I got the blue hand again.
Not the hand.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, imagine this. This is what the new cast box is going to look like, which is pretty close to what the revised cast box is, just like a few differences. Like having the icon, for instance, because we never thought we would. So it shows you all the information about the spell Fireball. This is supposed to tell you what school it comes from. Now, it's pretty easy to figure out Fireball is in the fire school, but some of the other ones are not so clear. So we have some kind of way of identifying that. And then down here, we're showing you the targeting pattern. So you are not allowed to cast Fireball in the first row. Why? Because it would blow up and singe off your eyebrows, Nick. Stop casting Fireballs in the first row. So the first row is blocked, and you're allowed to cast it in these ones. So this little tiny square saying this is the highlight, and that is where you're allowed to cast it. And then it's showing there's splash damage that occurs in these various squares, right? So that's how you can still get some damage on people in the front row. And this wacky little icon kind of looks like a world. That means you can cast. This means you can cast it in combat. This means you can cast it in the world. Now, these are just mock-ups. I want to warn everybody. So Roger's going to make real icons, and it'll probably be much more clear than what I've put here. But that's what this is trying to say. and then it shows you how much combat action points it costs in order to cast a spell. So we are going with a base of 6 points, and so this spell uses up all 6 of your points during your turn. Some of them maybe only use 2, so you can cast them 3 times, or you can cast other combinations of spells, so it should get pretty interesting. So that's what's going on over here. And then what do we got down here, Nick?
Mods, spell mods.
What's a spell mod?
A modification to your spell. What are you calling them?
Yeah, sure. Modifications to your spell. Upgrades, add-ons to your spell.
Yep.
So you got your base spell thing, whatever it does, and then as you go throughout the world, finding books and researching in libraries, you can gain these various add-ons. And so we have a group of add-ons. What do the colors mean?
Colors mean whether or not they're, I believe, unique or not, or the rarity of them.
The rarity.
That's what I'm going for, rarity.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. It is the rarity of them. So
I did it.
So we're using the common colors of white being normal and blue being rare and orange being pick this one. So and then we have 2 icons here. This one's really lousy icon, but it's all my software had, and that is it's stackable. So that means that you can find or train this particular add-on as many times as you want in the game. Same thing this one, right? So this one's stackable, this one's stackable. So we have stackable ones. So that means that in my game, I might find or discover things that make fireballs super, super powerful, and maybe in Nick's game, it's like a really quick, easy spell to cast, doesn't use up very much stamina, and so it's a different kind of experience every time you play. The unique ones are very rare, and so this one, the heat shield, now fireball can be cast in the front row. So this red thing would go away, and now you can cast in the front row. Eruption is another unique one. It's not stackable, but gives you +2 width to the splash damage. So it would go 1 more square this way and 1 more square this way to be the entire row. So that would be pretty cool to find. So we are designing these add-ons by spell and making them really, really exciting and awesome, so that when you find them, it's very exciting. So that brings us to, well, how do you get these? How do you get look at, I got a blue hand.
Not the hand again.
Sorry, it's just, I don't know, there's something about it. It's very interesting.
It looks terrible. That's what's interesting about it. It looks like I drew it.
That's true, it does. It's like I'm petting the spell. It's my precious. My precious. Okay, so how do you get these add-ons? So up here in the corner, we have a little box showing you your current research. So there's 2 ways that you get spells in the game, and I like the fact that there's 2 different ways of going about it. One is to be very academic about it, kind of brain power centric, and that is to find books and read them, research them, and then bam, you unlock one of these add-ons, or you learn a new spell. That's basically all it does. You unlock these, or you learn a new spell. And so if you focus all your energy on increasing your scholarship, then you see up here, if you have a scholarship of 6 plus 110%, that equals 12.6 per week. So when I am studying a book here, that's what this second one is. I'm studying a book, and I have to get to 105. It's a little bit like civilization research thing, so you are able to fill it by week. So you pass time in the game by week, and then bam, you get to the 105. Then you unlock whatever it is that this particular book is giving you. And because you can research the books that are not just books you own, but books in libraries, so you can go and visit a big city, go to the Conclave's fancy library, pay your dues, and study one of their books, then you don't have to hunt down the books. You just study. So you could be a bookworm and learn all kinds of awesome spells. But there is another path. What's the other way, Nick?
Learning in your mage tower. Blast chamber.
in the blast chamber, Nick's favorite part of the game. He's just going to build a mage tower of blast chambers.
Yep.
So the second way is a more pragmatic way of learning magic, right? And that is to just go and do it. To use the proper psychology term, it would be called deliberate practice. Deliberate practice, everybody. Okay, so when Malcolm Gladwell says it takes 10,000 hours in order to become good at something, the studies that he draws that from are talking about deliberate practice, not just, grabbing your guitar and jamming on it for a little while to songs you already know and doing that for 10,000 hours. You're never going to improve. But if you do deliberate practice, you will. So we want to apply the latest psychological advances into Archmage Rises, and so that's why you have the second path, which is practical studies, and so you do an experiment. And so this is just like, hey, cool, I could do fire magic, so I'm going to go into my blast chamber, which is specially designed to not be destroyed by you casting all your magic spells, and you spend your time researching in there and seeing what you come up with, right? So this is a very hands-on approach. And so it's a little more risky in the sense that you don't know exactly what you're going to get as you experiment, right? Mm-hmm. It's very kind of World War II research kind of thing. It's like, I don't know, we'll throw a bunch of chemicals together and see what we get. Hey, look, we discovered Post-it notes and Yoo-hoo sticks and all kinds of other things that we weren't expecting. I was actually trying to make parachute, but I ended up getting Post-it notes. So when you get this little bar to the end, again with your scholarship per week, so you get that to the end, then it prompts you and gives you, here's the results, and you can choose which result that you want out of 2 choices or 3 choices. And then that's another example of where having a certain protege, the protege might give you 1 extra choice in that, so that's like really cool. Mm-hmm. And so it's a little more random as to what your results are, but you never know what you're going to get. But you do get a choice. And then the second thing is that is how you increase your school of power. So you may not know as many spells, but you're really, really good at the schools. So if you go to cast an arcane spell, it's super powerful. Whereas the more bookwormish mage is less powerful. Their school is less powerful, but they have lots of upgrades to their spells that they've learned through books. And so it's a different kind of powerful. So I like that there's different ways of playing a mage in a mage simulator, since we're making you play a mage.
Right. Should be different every time. You should be able to play it differently.
That's right. Different every time. I don't want to play it the way Nick plays it. He doesn't know what he's doing. So it's up to the player how much they focus on the experiments and how much they do on the book stuff. Now you'll see that it says experiment number 5, and the reason for that is that the experiments start off with a certain cost, like 10 research points or something like that, and then every time you do an experiment, it gets a little bit harder, a little bit harder, a little bit harder. That's the deliberate practice aspect of it. So if you just keep doing it over and over and over again, it starts to take longer and longer and longer in order to get there, in order to increase those spell schools. But you don't need any books. You don't have to find any of them. You can just go and just start experimenting in your blast chamber and pop out a super powerful mage. So I think that's all there is to say about customizing your spells in the game world.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Well, with that, we will say adieu.
Adieu.
Adieu. That is the French term for get lost. And we will have a very, very special update next week because Nick and I are going to a conference. And we are both speaking at the conference because their speaking bar is very low. Okay, we're back to big head mode. So you're going to be speaking at the conference, and what will you be speaking on?
Unity messaging.
And what the heck is that?
Just a way to send messages around in Unity, pretty much.
Like texting yourself?
Yeah, exactly. It solves a big problem in Unity, which is like, how do you have different objects talk to each other? So that's what I'm going to be talking on.
Yep. So Nick's going to be doing a technical talk, talking about some of the internal plumbing and genius inside Archmage Rises. And I will be doing a talk on Tolkien and his life and the life lessons that come out of that for game designers. I think it's a pretty interesting take on somebody who wrote obviously some pretty amazing books that helped define the genre that we are now making a game in.
Yeah, pretty influential.
Yeah,
to say the least.
Yeah. So we will be next week. We'll be together and shooting probably our first update ever, where we're actually in the same room.
One camera. We're gonna have to sit real close.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very good.
No, it doesn't.
We could just hook up to an access point and still shoot it this way.
I'll sit on your lap.
Oh, that sounds great. And maybe we can even finagle James, the musician, who also will be in Portland, to join us on the update as well.
Oh, man. We're going to squish 3 heads in there. It'd be great.
I don't know. 3's a crowd. Okay, well, we will all see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.